you to be cheap with your time. Find out more about this simple fundamental in my book, The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Contento, the CEO of My Blue Umbrella and the author of my book, The Bottom Line. Effective communication is less about speaking and more about listening. Selling is one of the basic skills required to do business. It's about communicating, which is not just about talking. People think communication simply is about saying the right thing. That's only a small part of it. Getting your message out in a way people understand and internalize also involves listening. It requires the interpretation of body language, the grasping of nonverbal cues like clothing choices and posture, and the ability to put yourself in another person's shoes to understand what they need to hear. I'll talk about that in Chapter 7, How to Communicate. Find out more about this simple fundamental in my book, The Bottom Line. I'm Michael Contento, the CEO of My Blue Umbrella and the author of my book, The Bottom Line. Here's a tip. Avoid accomplishing big jobs. Wait, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. Big jobs intimidate people. They're a recipe for procrastination. Rather than work on big jobs, people are more likely to do anything else but start and manage that job efficiently. So to achieve big things, carve out major time-intensive jobs into smaller, easy-to-achieve tasks. Find out more about this simple fundamental in my book, The Bottom Line.
Hi, folks. Welcome to the book launch webinar for Michael Contento's The Bottom Line. My name is Christopher Shulgan. I was Michael's editor on the project. And Michael, how are you today?
Doing great. Been a long day, exciting day, a little tiring, but ready for this launch and super excited to have everyone with us tonight.
It's been a long journey, actually. So you know, this is a long time coming. So first of all, thanks to our attendees. I see the numbers coming up, and thanks to everybody who bought the book today. So the big news today is we did get bestseller status today. In fact, we sold so many copies that we sold out Amazon, which I think is hard to do. So for a time, the book wasn't available on Amazon. Now it's back. Michael, the paperback is back up there, right?
It seems like the paperback is there. The hardcover, they haven't filled in again. So I'm hoping by tomorrow morning, everything's back ready and available.
So, with this, I'll just walk through what's going to be happening today. I'm going to say a couple of words of introduction on my friend Michael Contento, and then Michael, you're going to say a couple of words in terms of acknowledgments, and then we're going to do a Q&A back and forth about why you wrote the book and talk about some of the process of writing the book. And then we're going to open it up to the audience, to the webinar attendees. So there are two ways that you can ask questions. Nancy Stabile, I already see you saw the chat function, so that's great. And you can also use the Q&A function on Zoom. So we all know Zoom, we're all used to. So anyway, so go ahead and ask questions and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar. So Michael, so now is my chance to get you to listen to me. You have to listen to me. So listen, congratulations about this day. I know it was a long time coming, and I'm so proud of you. And I have a couple of things to say. So when I think about you, I think about what Bill Brandell said. And I think about this a lot. So what Bill Brandell said. So Bill Brandell is the country CEO for Ingram Micro. And he said, if you have grit, determination, and drive, you can do whatever you want in life. And few people personify that fact more than Michael Contento. And I think that's true. I think that's true on a profound level. So I'm in the process of an entrepreneurial journey myself. My wife and I are building a content marketing agency. And I think about Michael's Deliver Simplicity, Drive Growth framework every single day. It just, it comes up, and success, Michael says, isn't all that difficult. And as I worked through editing the book with Michael, I thought about that success isn't all that difficult. We make it difficult for ourselves, but it's actually a very simple thing. You just have to execute the fundamentals. So you have to do stuff like arrive on time. You have to do stuff like prepare for meetings. You know, you have to work hard. And Michael, you work hard every single day. And you know, honestly, I don't think anybody, I've never seen anybody who works as hard as you. And that through the time that I've known you has inspired me to work hard. So that, you know, I think about you and then I get back to it after the kids are asleep, or I wake up early and I work, or I work the weekends because I know you're working the weekend. So I just, yeah, I just want to, I'm so excited to see the bottom line finally come to fruition. And I'm excited about it because I hope it will have the same impact on everybody who reads it as it has already had on me. So listen, congratulations, man. I'm really proud of you. And I know everybody who's participating in this webinar is proud of you. So I know you have some things to say, but congratulations. And I think virtually everybody is raising the glass and toasting you for this day.
Thanks, Chris. I have to say, Chris, honestly, like always, you make me sound so impressive that at times I really wonder if you're chatting about me. You know, it's like, wow, who's that guy he's talking about? You really do a great job in making me feel very pumped. So thank you about that. You know, a few times I was asked if I was going to read an excerpt from the book. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that tonight. Today, especially today, with the overwhelming support I got today, I thought that I'm going to read parts of my acknowledgments of the book. But before I do that, I first want to give a very special thank you to you, Chris. Honestly, I have to say, like, our journey together the past 2 years has been incredible. And you think you learned a lot from me? I learned tremendous amount from you. This journey at times was extremely challenging, and you were always able to make it a positive ride for me. You, Chantel, and the team at Gold Bureau, incredible company, have done and continue to do an amazing job for myself, my book, and NBU's marketing. So, Chris, thank you. I also want to thank, you mentioned him, both the company, Ingram Micro Canada, and CEO Bill Brandell. Thank you generously for providing the books forward. It was incredible and so gracious of you, Bill. You know, I say there's not many people that truly understand me, that get the really fundamentals of Michael Contento. And the short time that we known each other, Bill was able to really understand those base fundamentals of Michael Contento. So thank you, Bill. I really truly appreciate it. So now part of the acknowledgments from the book. So I'm gonna read some of it. I always found the concept of acknowledgments or award accept speeches to be very dangerous. What if you forget someone? What if you offend people by an omission of their names? Family is important to me on so many different levels. My extended family, my family of friends, and my work family. Many of you have been with me through thick, thin, and beyond. Your help molded me into the entrepreneur I have become. So thank you all for that. A heartfelt thanks to my parents for teaching me, although the journey can be rough, you always have control over your destination, and it can be whatever you anticipated with perseverance and dedication. I love you both. This one will be hard, but a special thank you to my late brother-in-law, Alex. You were the one who told me not to stop, not to worry, and to push through. You have given me your name, your credit, and support to get me going. Sorry. It's safe to say we all miss you tremendously. In particular, we will miss your guidance, your love, I personally miss the support I turned to when growing up to be who I am today. We'll see you again, God willing. Sorry about that. Last and most importantly, my nuclear family. How nuclear we are. My wife, Maria, who has been a rock for our home and our kids. My two boys, Seth and Liam, who have taught me that energy is a natural source with infinity amount of growth and destruction. My little Taylor, another force to be reckoned with. The little girl who truly believes the journey can be found at any age, especially with a mindset of never quitting. I purposely developed my world to be unconditional, and I'm truly thankful for those in my life who want to be part of my journey. Thank you all. Part of my acknowledgements. I hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was great. That was great, Michael. Thank you. So I think now we're going to transition to I wanted to ask you some questions about the book, because I think one important thing to understand about why this book is so special is hearing about what motivated you to write it, and then some of the insights that it contains. So let's first talk about, what compelled you to write this book. You really felt like you needed to get something, that you needed to convey something to the world. Can you talk about that, and then what that is?
It's funny. That's a great question, and so for most of my colleagues, or especially the peers at work, Brian Chasson, our sales manager and our service manager, texted me. I didn't get back a chance to text him back about half an hour ago. And he says, Michael, I remember a few years back, we were driving home together, and you said to me, Brian, I really want to write a book. I really want to get some of these thoughts on paper, because I really think there's a lot of people that can benefit from these very base fundamentals in getting things accomplished. So the reason why I wrote this book, Chris, is because I see a lot of people making something that truly is a simple task into this very complicated initiative. And there's so many times that I stop people and say, well, wait, slow down. Look at what you're trying to go, look at what you're trying to achieve, look at the outcome you're trying to get. You're trying to conquer the world by one small little task. So, one of the biggest initiatives was, I'm hoping that people take this book, I'm hoping people that read this book say, wow, I can do this. I can do it as well. I can take on my role, my personal life, my career. It could be a personal goal, and taking these basic fundamental steps, I know now I can do it. That's the biggest premise. I have a painting in my mudroom where my kids come in and out of the house every day. And the premise of the book is, some people dream it, some people want it, and some people simply do it. So the book is about truly just doing it, not worrying about failing. Just don't quit and continue, but just do it. Yeah.
I think about that the poster in your mudroom a lot. So some dream it, some, what is it? Say it again.
Some dream it, some want it. Simply, it's some dream it, some want it, and some simply do it.
Yeah. Well, so one of the stories in the book that has stayed with me is the story about you when you were working earlier in your career as a tech, and you were coming up on a round of layoffs, and it was one of those economic times where I think it's similar to today, where people are undergoing a lot of transition. The economy is going through one of those times where people make changes in their lives. And this was, so your employer had to make a change. They had to make a round of layoffs. Let's talk about that story.
Actually, it's one of my favorite stories, and actually it's perfectly fitted for this global reset we're going through. When I was a young guy, even though I'm still very young, just to be very clear, when I was younger, let's say, my very first job as a tech, I was an Apple technician, help desk. So that's phone support for a company called Elm Street Appland. And I got hired as a tech. And when I went into the department of 3, it was very quickly, within 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I noticed there wasn't much to do. And I'm sitting there with 2 other people, and a good portion of the day we're twiddling our thumbs. So I want to learn more. I want to learn more, one, for myself, for my own personal initiatives, but another perspective is really, how can I help this company? How can I make myself valuable for Elm Street Appland? So I noticed one of the departments, a department of 1, back in the days for the Mac people on the phone, it used to be a system called Eris. And with Apple parts, you literally have 48 hours to return an Apple part, or you get penalized. So this department of 1, his name was Val. I noticed every day he's eating his lunch at his desk. So I went up to Val and I said, hey, Val, why don't you teach me how to return these parts and order new parts, and I'll cover your lunch? And the guy says, well, what do you mean? I said, well, we're a bit slow on help desk. Why don't you teach me and I'll cover your lunch? He goes, well, we're going to have to get your manager to approve this. So I go up to my manager, Danny Chan, and I said, hey, Danny, I want to know if I can learn Val's job so Val can take lunch. And the first thing out of my manager's mouth is, he said, well, what do you mean? I'm not going to pay you more. And I looked at him strange. I was this young kid, and I'm like, Danny, I'm not asking for more money. Val sits through his lunch. He doesn't take a lunch break because he's the department of 1. We're really slow in help desk. Let me learn this. So 4 weeks into my job, I learned Val's position. Now, every day Val's taking a lunch and I'm covering the parts. Another 2, 3, 4 weeks go by, 2 months into my job, and right by help desk, we had a storefront, a very small storefront for the building. Anyone in the building that needed USB cables, Ethernet cables, anything like this will come downstairs and buy from our storefront. Now, David, another department of 1, didn't care. He left for lunch. He would close shop. He says, well, I'm taking my lunch, I'm closing shop. So once again, I thought of an idea. I go up to my manager, I say, hey, Danny, help desk is right next to the POS system, the storefront. And every day that David goes on lunch, people come in and we have to reject them. I have an idea. Why don't you let me learn the POS system and I'll cover David's lunch? Once again, Danny just sits back, looks at me and says, well, I don't get what you're doing. I said, excuse me, I'm this young kid and I'm just confused. And he says, I don't get what you're doing. I'm not going to pay you more. And I looked at my manager again as this young kid, and I looked at him and said, well, listen, I'm not asking for more money. So Danny says, sure, learn the POS system. So now a good 3, 4 months into my career goes by. I'm doing help desk. When it's slow, I'm covering Val's job in parts return. And then after he's gone, I take David's shift. And when he's done, I keep on growing in my help desk position. And that's one of the key elements. I kept on growing at my core job. So 6 months into my career, 2 months later, we get an email, we get a communication that they're about to do layoffs in the company. And I'm like, wow, this really sucks. And I know what I'm about to say. You guys are going to think I'm a mama's boy, but I called up my mom, which I'm not a mama's boy. I called up my mom and I said, you know what, this really sucks, but I'm about to get fired. And she says, what do you mean? Well, I didn't know how to explain layoffs in Italian because I'm not the best Italian speaking. I don't speak that well in Italian, but I said to my mom, yeah, I'm getting fired. She says, oh, whatever. Don't worry about it. You'll get another job. So that very day, 3 p.m., I see Susie, the most senior one in our department, getting laid off. Smartest of our department, most senior, and she gets laid off. I was just flabbergasted. I'm like, what is going on? So I didn't want to confront my manager right away. And about 2 weeks later, I had the guts as a kid to go up to my manager. I said, Danny, I don't get it. Why wasn't I laid off? I was the last one in. And then he looked at me with a big smile and goes, what are you talking about? You do 3 jobs for the price of 1. You're the last person we're letting go. The moral of this story is that today in the Great Reset, it's imperative that not only do we look out for ourselves, it's very important to make sure you're happy. It's very important you're doing what you love, but fundamentally understand what the company needs. Today is the day. This is the time that we all have to understand that the companies globally need help. We all have to participate and make sure that every company, Ghost Bureau, My Blue Umbrella, and every other small business in Canada gets the help and tremendously from their team first.
Yeah, no, God. I mean, just thinking about you as what were you, 21, 22 when that happened?
Yeah, but no, it's 2021, something like that. Absolutely.
It's an interesting difference in, the difference in the mindset between the employee who doesn't want more work and then the employee who just wants to learn, the difference in mindset. I think that's really illustrative. And, that's the difference. That's the difference between the employee that as an entrepreneur you want and the employees who, you're going to end up maybe, laying off down the road. So any book, the writing of any book is a journey. It's a long journey. And through the course of the writing of the book, you learn things about yourself as you kind of examine your own story. So what I'm curious about is what did you learn about yourself? Did you learn anything about yourself? And if so, what was that thing?
Oh, wow. That's, I don't think we have enough time. Recently working with Chantel as Ghost Bureau, she's been inspiring, although we work close together on my content, sometimes her reading my content I get confused. I'm like, wow, who said that, Chantel? And she's like, oh, you did? I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. But there's one in particular I've been talking about once again, and it's something I'm probably going to share tomorrow morning in tomorrow morning's email. I always knew this, but writing this book, it really, really stood out tremendously for me. One of my greatest accomplishments, I believe, that helped me tremendously to be successful was when I truly accepted that I don't know everything. And the minute I accepted that, I leaned on people for help and I wanted to learn. So I think I always knew that. That's why I went after all the departments. Something in me always knew that I wanted a source of information. Well, during this book, I truly realized that, wow, I really enjoy accepting for help. I see the value in teamwork. I see the value in doing this as a team. And one of the main reasons is because I don't know everything and I want to empower people to help me grow. So I think this journey really amplified that quite a bit.
I think that's really interesting. I think that's pretty, that is something about you in that. And I think it's kind of counterintuitive because you think about, you didn't have the greatest primary school experience. And I remember that, you being the hilarious story, but you being kind of tied to your desk that is in the book. But at the same time, you are super hungry for knowledge, which I think is, because to the extent that you learned how publishing works. I think now you know more about publishing than I do. That you sort of got into the publishing industry and learned about how books work and how book sales work and how you didn't solve the problem of Amazon's inventory control, maybe.
I tried to call Bezos today. I did try to call him today. So what's going on here?
You called Jeff Bezos? Just hey man, hey Jeff, listen.
Yeah.
No, but I do think, and one of the insights from the book is you have to be humble enough to realize that about the knowledge that you don't know. And then what you do is you try to find out from experts, from people who do have that knowledge. You're not finding out their knowledge. What you're finding out is how they suggest you most efficiently go about acquiring that knowledge yourself, which I think is a really important insight. And well, listen, so the book has a ton of stuff, a ton of the fundamentals and how to develop the fundamentals. and what those fundamentals are, which I think are going to be useful reminders for many people. But what couldn't you include in this book that you wish you could have? What, what is not in there that you're thinking to yourself now, shoot, man, I wish I would have got that in?
Yeah, specifically in the last 6 months, my Bloom Umbrella has been going through a lot of M&As. We're trying to buy, we're trying to grow to $50 million, and we're in acquisition mode where we're truly trying to buy a lot of companies or merge with a lot of companies. And what I will say, if I had more time, I would have easily written another 2 or 3 chapters, really into details, finance details, the financial details. What I find young entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners, is that we look at the bottom line, it's in the block, this is great, we're making money, we're happy. And then when you start going through an M&A process and truly looking at your true valuation and seeing all the data you're missing and all the errors you're doing, and it's natural errors, is normal errors, is not just a my issue or my Umbrella issue. This is a typical error. I would say that I would add a couple of chapters on details, on really fundamentally understanding the financial impact, both personally and in a career point of view. So Maria and I, my wife and I, are going through this right now. We're looking at an exit strategy, not from the company, but in our personal lives. Exit strategy, where we want to be when we come to a final age that we want to retire. And already we're looking, wow, the details is saying we need some more work to get there. So I would add chapters about the details, the financial details, both personally and in a business point of view.
So listen, we've actually got a lot of comments and questions that I'm going to start to go through. So folks, if you have any questions or comments, I'm going to go through them now. Okay, so in terms of Q&As, I'm going to mangle this name. Fahad Jaradad. Hi, Michael. Very happy that the launch was a resounding success. That's very nice. I was wondering if an audio version is on the cards down the line.
Absolutely. We contemplated on the audio version. There's, it's funny, like Chris said, I was very intrigued in the whole process of writing a book, getting it published, and the avenues about publishing a book. One of the last avenues is, yes, the audio path. We decided to see how the book goes. We really didn't know the overwhelming response we got today, and we just want to make sure we want to test the waters before we go down the audio path. But it's definitely 100% going to happen. It might be a couple of months down the road, probably early in the new year. We're also looking at a multilingual version. My family in Italy are pushing for an Italian version. So we might be looking at multi-language as well. So Fahid, yes, thank you for your support. The audio version is coming soon.
Could your Italian's not good enough that you could read it in Italian, is it?
No way. This will become a comical night. I mean, this is not yuck yucks. Definitely. Yeah.
Daniel Chang, congratulations, Michael. Your Trust X Alliance friends are proud of you. Glad to have you on the Thinking and Drinking Society. What wine do you think pairs well when I am reading your book?
Oh, wow. So Daniel, you should know this answer. I'm still a very big, I don't know if it pairs well, but I'm going to tell you one of my favorite wines because it really brings out Michael Contento. So there's a couple of times that I really had to hunker down and really think on a chapter, and I always did it with a bottle of Amarone. So I would say a nice full-bodied Amarone will definitely get you through some of these chapters.
Amazing. Jody Bonham says, happy to be here. Congratulations, Michael and team. Anonymous attendee. This is an excellent question, and but it comes anonymously. So, okay. So can you describe a venture that you undertook in a non-IT space that did not turn out according to your expectations, You had to walk away from it. What was the reason for the failure, and what did you learn?
Yeah, that's actually a really great question, and I will share a number just for the fun of it, but a few of my colleagues, a few of my friends, they're in the pharmaceutical industry, and one day I just wanted to dabble into the pharmacy business, and you know, I confronted a few of my colleagues, and we paired up together, and we said, sure, let's try this, let's go for it. So we went to buy our first pharmacy, and we bought a pharmacy, we bought partial of pharmacy. What we thought was good data, once again, the last 2 chapters is the fine details in finance, ended up to be a reckoning of an investment, and we lost a lot of money. I think I must have lost, you know, anywhere between $100,000 and $150,000 starting up that pharmacy or buying that pharmacy. You know, it's okay to fail, and you know, some people say, but Michael, you're not a pharmacist. And I always laugh now. I said, listen, for $150,000, I have every pharmacy degree you can think of because I paid for it at this point. But at this, you know, leaning on my partners, brilliant guys. I work with some of the most brilliant people in the pharmaceutical industry, John, David, Michael, Rob. We didn't stop. We said, okay, we got punched. We learned a few things. We decided instead of buying pharmacies, we developed our own concept, we developed our own name, we developed our own brand, and we started to open up our own pharmacy franchise. Today, we're on 3. We just sold 1. We're 2 that are working really, really good. We have some great managing partners, Christina and Sunny. And so I would say my entrepreneurship really makes me get into some diverse, complex opportunities, and I would say the pharmaceutical one was probably one of them that I had to learn by losing some money.
I was hoping you were going to say your lawn landscaping business, and then
that was great. That was a good one.
You're allergic to what? Hay fever. You have hay fever.
Yeah, I thought I had a 2-month cold, but it was allergies.
Okay, so chat. I'm just going to go through the chat stuff. So we already talked about Nancy Stabile, who said congratulations. Lily Contento, congrats, Michael, from Lily and the girls. Bill Brandell, very nicely, congratulations, Michael. We are all so impressed and proud of you. Fahid, we've already talked about. So hi, Michael, very happy that the launch is a resounding success. Gio Greco, congratulations, Michael. Christine says she finally ordered her copy. And just wanted, Greg Rainbird says, just wanted to stop by and say congratulations. Let me go through because we're wrapping up our time here. Michael Nashat, looking forward to reading this. Are you planning any other books? Okay, so are you planning any other books?
So we are. I'll give you the premise of the book, and hopefully no one beats me to writing it. It's going to be a multi-author book with a few of my colleagues at My Umbrella. I think one of the biggest challenges in sales is the layers of a sale and the miscommunication, the art of communication between the layers of sales. So the premise of the book is going to be essentially a transaction, a sale transaction. And this book is going to articulate the way a sales rep looks at the transaction, the way a sales manager looks at the transaction, the way the CFO looks at the transaction, and ultimately the way the owner looks at the transaction. Because truly, each layer brings in a very different definition, a very different request from the sale. And a lot of times where the sales rep thinks they're doing a great job in making the sale, the CFO will say, no, don't do the sale, don't do the sale. So I truly believe if we can help articulate the layers of a sale and the viewpoints of the sale, it will once again help a tremendous amount of people in acknowledging what is a good sale versus just a sale itself.
I do love the idea of drawing on the expertise that is at MBU, because I do think you just have, whether you're talking about like Yinju or Brian or Julio or Simon or Adnan, like your team, Arthur, your entire team is just, you have a really strong team there and drawing on their expertise, I think, is an interesting idea.
Speaking of some more great questions there, I don't know if we have time.
Michael, congratulations again. The whole team at MBU is so proud of you. No pressure, but now that you are an Amazon bestseller, when can we expect the second book? Okay, we just talked.
We just answered that one.
Michelle Zorn. Hey, Michael, one of your best qualities is your authenticity, and that has really come through tonight. Thank you. Can you tell us about a time where you were able to overcome your fear of people's reactions, judgments? What was your thought process, and how did you move forward as part of your never quit mentality? Wow, that's a great question.
Well, that's a really good question, and I'll talk about it, but I can't give too much details just in case some of my audience is going to reflect them. There's many times that I walked into a boardroom, and the amount of suits, the amount of very, very, very smart people around the table, I would be extremely intimidated, scared to open my mouth, scared to say a word. What if I say the wrong thing? And when we start talking about strategy and solution and how we're going to overcome this problem, and then I hear all these extremely smart people start talking, I was just, once again, bewildered on what they would say. And I'm like, I had to at one point say, I can't take this anymore. And I spoke up. I said, listen, that's all great, but you guys are fundamentally missing the point, what we're trying to achieve here. And I remember this one pivotal time that I really spoke out. The CEO literally just stopped talking to everyone else and said, okay, Michael, I heard everyone, but we need to do what you just said. How fast can you do this? And it was that day that I said, wow, maybe I do have something. Maybe I did do something right, and I can do this now going forward. And I think that was one of the biggest moments of my life, is that single boardroom with all these extremely smart people around the table.
How old were you? Like, when was that?
So that was early in My Blue Umbrella. I would say I was maybe 24, 25, 26.
That's great. That's great. So let's go one last question. We're going over, actually 2 more questions. Okay. Alexander Salinas says, what was the pivotal point that really made you realize your drive to succeed? Shoot, maybe it was that point we just talked about. I also think about you at Club Monaco.
Yeah. With my brother-in-law Vito, that we can touch on that story as well. I think that definitely was, if you would talk about an earlier stage in my life where I realized about succeeding, was Club Monaco. I started fairly early in careers, flipping burgers at A&W, working at the theaters, and predominantly with 2 of my best friends, Agostino and Steven. For some reason, we always applied together and got jobs together and quit together on the spot. And when I moved into Club Monaco, so those other jobs were always just jobs. I knew I was just picking up popcorn. I knew I was just flipping a burger. And when I joined Club Monaco, and the first thing they said to me, here's your quota. In all honesty, I'm not embarrassed to say this. I'm looking at it, my manager, I'm like, quota? What are you talking about? Lady, what do you want me to do, right? And she says, well, you have to sell clothes, and you need to sell $1,500 worth of clothes. And I have to tell you, and maybe it was because my brother-in-law was there, and we were very competitive at the time. It was thrilling. I'm like, oh my God, $1,500? I can do this. And every day I would go in, I would be so excited to hit my quota. And I would strategize. I would see the amount of quota. And of course, Friday and Saturdays and Sundays would be more. And I would say to myself, I would say quickly, okay, $1,500, what do I have to sell? I have to sell at least 1 winter jacket. I have to sell a couple of sweaters. Those are the high price tickets. I would strategize very early, which sections of the store am I going to hit for? When am I going to see someone smiling? Once again, look at their body language, look if they're smiling or giggling or ready to buy, and I would attack. So I think definitely one of the pivotal points is understanding accomplishing a goal. And it wasn't commission based. It was just something I knew I can do. So that was definitely a younger pivotal point for me. I think that was probably one of the most, the one that stands out the most.
Yeah, no, I love that story. That's a great story. Judy Fricker, congratulations on authoring a book. What do you do in your downtime? How do you maintain your energy? Those are good questions.
So I joke about my kids proving that energy is a natural source, and I don't know what it is about me, but I don't get tired much, and it doesn't stop. I remember my doctor earlier in my life. He introduced me to wine. I know that sounds funny. I used to say to my doctor, "Well, I don't really sleep. It'd be 3 a.m. I thought of an idea, and I would jump out of bed and work on the idea." And he said to me, "Michael, drink a glass of wine tonight." And I'm looking at him. I'm like, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah, drink a glass of wine." I didn't even know what wine. So I just picked up any table wine, and it worked. It put me to sleep. But I would say I don't know if my energy is natural or not. I'm just always energetic. You know what I mean? It's hard to stop me, I guess. So how do I maintain it? I work out in the morning. I do what I have to do. Come home to a loving family, and start again next morning.
Okay, so I think we're over time, and I think those questions have been amazing. I think the one insight I think that pervades every element of the book is your whole deliver simplicity, drive growth framework, where if you can figure out a mechanism by which you can provide simplicity to somebody, then probably your insight is that there's a business there. There's some, where a service is providing simplicity to somebody else, where maybe a restaurant is delivering simplicity by helping their customers not have to think about what they're eating, or you talk about the executive assistant who delivers simplicity to the CEO by taking the logistics. That whole insight about viewing business as a mechanism to deliver simplicity to somebody, I think, is the most important thing here. So thank you for that. And thank you for writing the book.
Thank you. And once again, Chris, this journey wasn't easy, but you were able to make it really, really good for me. Ghost Bureau has been amazing. Thank you once again. Thank you all that helped today achieve my goal. It's been a great success. We're looking to continue this goal for the rest of the week. So thank you very, very much. Thank you all. And Vito, you're right. I see your comment here. Thank you to my 3 sisters, my 2 brothers. My family is tremendous. They've been there for me all the time. And
let's thank Zico, too, another of your family. Zico for the videos, because the videos started the webinar. He created those, which is wonderful.
Yeah, and Zico, I have to say, Zico is the magic behind the camera. He makes me look so good on camera. I don't know how it's done. So Zico, thank you for being patient. Thank you for everything you do for us. Your camera work. Everyone on the call, you're looking for some video production, Zico's the guy.
Okay, so one more. So how to buy the book. We're going to do one last thing. So we've created, basically you can go to amazon.ca, please go to, and just search Michael Contento, The Bottom Line. That'll come up with it. But also bit.ly/the_bottom_line. So, and with bit.ly, capitals are important. So it's capital the _ capital bottom _ capital L line. So if you haven't already, buy the book. It's wonderful. And thanks to the webinar attendees. I don't know, any last final words? I'm gonna end the call.
Yeah, once again, thank you to everyone. I see even my cousin Anthony, Sherwood Mortgages, and everyone else. Thank you for everything you guys have done. The great support. Thank you.
I guess probably maybe we will archive this on the MBU site also. Anyway,
yeah, for sure.
All right,
that's a great idea.
Okay,
Thank you,
thanks,
guys.
everyone. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.